Hey guys, so a lot of you have been wondering, or maybe not a lot of you, but some of you have been wondering, how's Japan? How are you doing in life in Japan? And I recently went through some hurdles that made me rethink um, Japan and moving to Japan altogether. And I thought I would share that with you as my 4 month update. So, since maybe October, I have been having this kind of battle inside of me saying whether or not or why did I move to Japan. Of course, I already know why I moved to Japan, but initially that whole factor, that whole interest has gone out the window, or it did go out the window when November came around. And I had to sit and evaluate what I was actually doing here. What am I actually doing here? And I spoke to some of my friends. I also kind of talked to myself, and I realized that I'm probably going through a stage of grief or maybe like a homesickness, which if you saw my last video, I got barbecue and tacos. Whenever I feel this way or whenever I feel down, I like to eat just because it makes me feel better. So I recently got into buying more plants, getting more into kimono, and some other activities that really got me out of that rut. And I've also started doing journaling, which really helped me clear my thoughts and give me a path as to where to go. Because living in Japan and living where I am, which is in a more rural area, you don't have a lot of opportunities to gain friendships, which is okay. I still like to go out by myself. I still like to do things by myself, not trying to rush friendships at all. But I do feel like it's hard, and I do feel isolated. One of my goals was to be more social when I came here. And of course, like I said before, that's a little bit hard to do. So I kind of like to focus my brain or my mind on task like journaling, or as you can see here, like planting. And as you'll see later, I actually have a desk that I'm going to set up to be kind of like a little cozy area for me. I'm planning it out. You know how you have like a Pinterest board and everything? I'm planning it out. So hopefully I will have that up by the end of the year. But yeah, I just wanted to give you guys an update to let you know that it's not always going to be an incline, especially with a big move such as moving to Japan. And me personally, I didn't realize that. I thought everything was going to be okay. Yeah, I'll get homesick. Yeah, I'll feel some type of way. But at the end of the day, I didn't realize what the full implications of moving to a whole different country is going to be. Another thing that I like to do when I feel this way or feel down, I guess, is I like to clean. I was mostly cleaning because I'm setting up my new desk, but I like to clean because not only do I want a clean headspace or a clear head, but I also want a clean home. Because when it's cluttered, I feel like I can't get anything done and I feel stuck. So cleaning definitely helps. As we speak, my room right now is filled with kimonos and kimono stuff, which is good, but at the same time, I'm starting to get a little overwhelmed. So I will have to do some more cleaning later on. Another thing that went into my, I guess, grief factor or my homesick factor is the job that I have now. Of course, you guys know that I'm working at Nova. Isn't really satisfying me. Yes, it's satisfying me as far as like paying bills and things like that. But as far as getting something out of it, it wasn't it wasn't what it was in the beginning. In the beginning, I thought it would be fine. Of course, I read the reviews on it, and as I was working, I was like, okay, it's not as bad as I hear. But now that I'm getting into, living here and wanting to be more social and wanting to be more out there, I realized that the job that I have is not going to be sufficient. Now, of course, I'm going to stick with the job until I can find another job. However, I do know that this is the time to move on, and this is the time to say, hey, you can't just stay somewhere just because it satisfies your needs. Okay, now I'm kind of thinking like maybe you should get a job that also satisfies your wants, but we will see what happens. Continuing on with, I guess, my grief factor of the moving stage, language. The language barrier is slowly breaking. Not as fast as I thought it would, but it is slowly breaking. I am starting to remember a couple of words, a couple of phrases. With me, I have the tendency to think, well, if it has to happen, it has to happen now. So I was very frustrated with myself that I didn't know Japanese, that Japanese was supposed to come fast. If I stayed in the area and I studied, it should come very fast. I studied Spanish for 4 years in maybe 3 years in high school, and I don't know a lick of Spanish. I know some Spanish, but not enough. So I kind of took that and factored that into, well, you do you don't know any Spanish, even though you've been studying it for 4 years. It's not going to be the same way with learning Japanese. Okay, you're not going to just land in Japan, study a couple of kanji, and you'll be fluent. That's not how that's going to work. So I realized that another thing that I have to do is to take things slowly, because eventually it'll come, but it's not going to come when you want it to. And I had to, tell myself that a couple of times, because the frustration of not understanding what people are saying kept building up. And I was like, okay, if I keep thinking this, I'm going to end up staying inside. Not one of the goals I have for myself. And I realized that many of the goals that I had for myself previously, I think they were just on a whim, because I saw other people doing it. And I also had to sit back and think to myself, yes, you moved to Japan, but you didn't move to Japan because you saw somebody on social media do it. Yes, you want to do ice skating, or you did ice skating, but you didn't do it because you saw other people do it. Yes, you want to collect kimonos, make kimonos and things like that, and you want to show off, but you didn't do that because you saw somebody on social media do it. And a lot of the things that I'm seeing or doing now or wanting to do now is based off of social media. And I've also realized that in the beginning, when I first had a phone, like every kid does, a lot of what I did or what I do was based off of social media. And I kept with that. But now I realize that that's taking over a lot of my life and taking over a lot of what I want to do. And I don't want that to happen. So I kind of had to set more realistic goals for myself with living in Japan. Because if I want to stand out, or if I want to feel seen in my community, or seen for myself, really, seen for myself, I have to do things that I actually will enjoy, not something that I saw somebody else do. So that is one realistic goal that I'm going to put up on my vision board. Another semi-realistic goal that I also have set for myself is to travel more, and not necessarily to go to like Hokkaido or Okinawa or places like that. Although I do want to go to Okinawa, but to kind of travel around my prefecture some more. Because while Saitama is known as the place with little tourism, there are still some very nature-esque places that I really want to visit. Now I do have the tendency to be a shut-in or very in the house a lot during the winter time, which is understandable because it's cold. And considering the temperatures here, I think I'm going to be more in the house this winter because it gets really cold. Um, but that also gives me more time to plan all the places that I want to go, whether it be in Saitama or if it would be beyond Saitama. But I do want to explore places that you don't typically see on social media, like TikTok and things like that. However, I have gotten a lot of things done on my want to do list since I've been here. One of them being in Shibuya during Halloween, which was very fun, and I would definitely do it again. Maybe in a different area, just to get the full experience within parts of Tokyo or within parts of Saitama. But I'm glad that I did that. I've also got to experience some other things, and I also have other things on my list that I want to do while being here. Another plus about living here is that with my apartment, I don't have to worry about renewing a lease or where I'm going to find a new place to move within the next year because I have a 2-year lease. Why is that a good thing? Because I like to move around, or basically, I don't like to stay in one area, especially if it's talking about renewing or anything of that nature. I'm the one that's just going to up and go. So I'm glad that I'm kind of, I don't want to say am stuck here, but I'm glad I'm kind of planted here for the next 2 years, which will allow me to study more Japanese. As you can see, I got journals and books for it. And I'm also allowing myself to decorate my apartment as I see fit. And I'm choosing to do that with a lot of plants and a lot of the color purple just because that's what makes me happy. But I'm glad I got to do this instead of getting like a 1 year thing, because I think that that would work well for me. Anyways, thank you for joining me and watching me do my chores. I will have more videos to come. See ya.